Good evening. My name is Apo Jabarian. I'm the publisher and executive managing editor of USA Armenian Life and Armenian Language Hagiang Armenian Weekly. Today we'll have a very short program, but it'll be very interesting. We will discuss about various issues concerning the well-being of our community here in the Western United States. I'd like to ask the studio technician to show us some of the interesting images that recently appeared in USA Armenian Life magazine. So in this picture we will see, as we may notice, back in September, just before Prime Minister of Armenia, Mr. Nikol Pashinyan, arrived in Los Angeles, Dr. Viken Osepian of ARF, he's an oligarch at ARF Western Region, along with his wife, and mainly along with Archbishop Hovnan Derderian of Western Diocese, and with the participation of Sinan Sinanian, they jointly announced the formation of Pan-Armenian Council. Can we go to the next image? Yes. And so they announced the formation, haphazardly announced the formation of Pan-Armenian Council in order to hijack the community representation within the Armenian American community in Western United States. And luckily for our people and the community at large, many well-read and concerned and well-informed individuals like Professor Andrew Demirjian, Governor Dükmejian, former policy advisor Helen Haig, an author who has been known for his expertise in writing exposés on corruption within various community-based and faith-based organizations in the United States and elsewhere, of course concerning the Armenian American community, Mr. Voskan Mkhitaryan, and many members of the community joined and raised their voice of condemnation for an attempted hijacking of the community representation. Can we go to the next illustration, please? And the next one as well. Yeah. So, so Mr. Mkhitaryan, what would you say about the attempted hijacking by Dr. Viken Osepian and Archbishop Hovnan Derderian of the community representation?
Well, it is an unfortunate situation. When they announced it officially that there is a Pan-Armenian organization that attempts to represent the Armenian community, of course, many concerned citizens, Armenian citizens, stood up against it and indicated clearly that they cannot represent the Armenian diaspora at large. They're just get-together party that trying to monopolize the community, and it's about time that the Armenian community, especially in California, stands up and demands its own rights, because this is a country where you can talk freely and express your opinion. After all, it concerns us and not only the union, the members that came together and conducted under Pan-Armenian organization.
Basically what happened is, for several years now, many activists within the Armenian American community and the diaspora Armenian community have been rightly and fairly pursuing democratic representation of the Armenian diaspora through popular elections, where each person would be entitled to one vote, electing community representatives. So the title representative is a big deal, is an important title. We cannot allow any one entity or individual to hijack community leadership title when there was no election held. To my knowledge, I didn't participate in such election.
None of us.
None of us. So it's not fair to see certain elements within our communities to hijack the community leadership or representative titles. So I'd like to ask the studio technician to show us, let's move to another topic. This topic concerns widespread corruption within a certain segment of our community. Organizational leaders of various organizations have been in harmony, but the harmony and the unity, the so-called unity that they have been propagating has been really counterproductive. They're not really unified for good reasons, but unified for bad reasons. So when corruption takes place at the Western diocese, leaders of other organizations keep quiet, and so do their respective media outlets. And when various community-based organizational leaders commit fraud and carry out acts of corruption, the so-called spiritual leaders keep quiet. So there is some kind of a collusion going on here, and that's not healthy at all. So we must revert back to telling the truth, being righteous about the realities of life, and bring them to the forefront of public awareness and public discussion. What do you think about the importance of that?
It's very important. If we don't participate and demand our rights, this monopoly will continue.
So we must break the monopoly, save the organizations from corrupted leaders in order to ensure perpetual endurance of the Armenian identity in the diaspora. Because if the Armenian diaspora weakens and disintegrates, the biggest loser will be the twin Armenian states, Armenia, Republic of Armenia, and Republic of Artsakh. And the Republic of Armenia and Artsakh have become exponentially luckier than the first Democratic Republic of Armenia that lasted only from 1918 through 1920, because at that time Armenia did not have a strong and organized diaspora. Now the Armenian diaspora, thank the Lord for it, has become stronger, but we must not allow corrupted organizational leaders hijack the diaspora and expedite its demise. In the opposite, we must, like Mr. Mkhitaryan says, participate
and demand our rights.
Demand our rights, and also demand transparency and accountability.
Accountability. Something that lacks in all of our organizations. Accountability and transparency. Also in the church.
So this collusion on the part of faith-based and community-based organizational leaders on the wrongdoings can become very costly for our nation, starting with the diaspora all the way to the twin republics of Republic of Armenia and Artsakh. So the collusion has been going on also recently when the AGBU, Armenian General Benevolent Union's school closure was announced in Pasadena, Vache and Tamar Manukyan School. And I'd like to ask the studio technician to show us a short video in Armenian, and I will translate the content of the remarks delivered by Reverend Bartev Gulimian. In this video, Reverend Gulimian has said during a recent protest rally against the school closure in Pasadena, saying that AGBU has deviated from its lifelong mission in providing Armenian education to succeeding generations. And now all of a sudden AGBU has also not only has shut down the Melkonian Educational Institute unjustly. The Melkonian Educational Institute was a jewel of Armenian education in diaspora. It was headquartered in Cyprus. So now all of a sudden they have announced the closure of AGBU Vache and Tamar Manukyan High School in Pasadena. So we shall not sit idly by. Reverend Gulimian, talking to the students in the video, has said to his students at AGBU Vache and Tamar Manukyan High School that whenever you witness a wrongdoing, don't keep quiet, because keeping quiet will render you a collusional individual. So you will become part of the problem rather than part of the solution. So nowadays, ladies and gentlemen, there are two schools of thought. One is amote, which means it is a shame. We should keep quiet. We should push whatever wrongdoing is happening under the rug so that Odars, the non-Armenians, do not find out about it. And then the new school of thought is algapave, which means enough is enough. We need to bring to the forefront the wrongdoings so that we can solve them and recreate the healthy organizational structures that we have in the diaspora, be they the AGBU, ARF, ANCA, Western Diocese, Tekeyan Cultural Association. So to the credit of the supporters of these organizations, Mr. Mkhitaryan, I should say now we have four movements that are intended to save the AGBU, save the Western Diocese, save the AGBU from the dictator Berj Setrakian and his cohorts, namely Sinan Sinanian, save the Western Diocese from Archbishop Hovnan Derderian, the dictatorial primate of the Western Diocese, and his cohorts, namely Joseph Krikorian, attorneys Joseph Krikorian, Sinan Sinanian, and Adrian Krikorian and others, and save the ARF and ANCA Western region from the autocrats, Dr. Viken Hosepian and Mrs. Nora Hosepian, and then save the Tekeyan Cultural Association from dictatorial leaders in the Central Committee, Mr. Edmond Azadian and Arzumanian and others. So, as you may see, dear viewers, we should feel blessed to have the active participation of so many supporters of concerned members of various organizations.
I want to put all of this in one word: fight for your right.
Absolutely. Thank you.